Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth?
And Brian.
So we've got a lot of news to talk about this week. We've been gone for a little bit, and we've got actually a ton of stuff happening in Disney World this week. And we've also decided that we're going to do kind of a recap of the things that we got announced last year, some of the stuff that we've talked about, and I guess kind of get a step back perspective and see how we feel about these things now. I think this is going to be interesting, and I'm pretty ready to talk about it. About you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to get back into it. We enjoyed our holiday season. Now it's time to get back on the podcast schedule.
Definitely.
On the Disney train. First thing that I have on here is that starting off pretty strong. Reedy Creek Improvement District discussed some long-term land uses at Disney World, which includes the possibility of some additional theme parks. So nothing to get excited about yet. Nothing's officially announced. There's no plans really in the works for another park to be built. But the discussion that they had is that there is enough land long-term to build more hotel rooms, 2 additional minor theme parks, so water park sized, and 1 additional major theme park. We're getting some actual release on this, which will probably provide more insight as to what they talked about in February. But it's kind of cool to see that the future is a thing that they're discussing, and there is possibility for expansion. I know we always like to talk Fifth Gate, so I thought this would be a fun one to talk about.
That's crazy that they're actually talking about it now. The thing that confuses me though is 2 water parks. I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be a water park. It just has to be something that can be contained in a small space. But I mean, the water parks that they have are already pretty reasonably not big crowds, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right? There's not really the demand for more water parks, in my opinion.
I wouldn't think so. I think it's kind of, it also feels like the majority of the time only one of them's open now anyway. So
Right.
I don't see them wanting to invest the time and money in opening more water parks on property.
Maybe more putt-putt for you, Brian.
That's kind of what I was thinking is I feel like minor theme park, like water park is probably the most comparable, but I feel like mini golf or stuff like that could probably also fill that area.
I'm excited either way. The idea of expanding is novelty.
This is also kind of a knee-jerk reaction. I know we kind of had this brief discussion before the news about how we're a little out of touch because we took that 2 weeks off and just kind of enjoyed it. But Universal talked about possibly expanding to Texas. So this came out literally the same day. And I feel like it's a little bit of yeah, we have the room to do this.
Right.
So
it's
next
also,
thing
now I don't understand, all the civil planning and everything that goes behind this, but it also does seem kind of ridiculous that, they take I don't know if they have legitimate plans to do anything with it, but it's how much money do they spend surveying all this and being oh yeah, it turns out we had space. We had space on this massive plot of land that Disney owns in Central Florida that probably less than 10% of it is actually has any kind of structures on. But yeah, it turns out we actually can build more on it.
Imagine that.
So next thing that we have on here is a lot of discussion about Tron light cycles. So First thing I want to actually jump to the third story that I have on here. Disney's announced that there's going to be a mandatory locker system for the light cycles, which honestly, kind of excited about this. This is such a minor thing, but I think it's pretty cool that they're actually like putting a locker system in place for this ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I low key kind of hate taking my stuff on roller coasters, but the lockers are not convenient in every case except for Cali River Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nice that they're exploring that. And does it say if it's going to cost or what the cost will be?
I didn't see anything about cost in here, but
Because if they're making it mandatory, I'm assuming they're probably going to utilize something similar to Universal's where it's like you get 30 minutes, an hour, however long the line is for free, right?
that's what I would hope.
That
And I
would
feel
make
like a
sense.
lot of and I feel like a lot of places that do locker systems outside of Universal, like I mean, Disney and Six Flags aren't comparable, but that's the closest thing that I have. But like when Six Flags, if you rent a locker there, you're usually renting like I will use this locker for a set amount of time and then I can move to another one with that credit. But Disney doesn't have lockers anywhere else on, in Magic Kingdom. So I feel like maybe it's just gotta be free until they start putting new other lockers in places. But I don't see them doing other lockers at any other part of the park because no other place really needs it.
And I think you're going to get a huge backlash if there's a charge for this and they're making it mandatory. Like, I definitely understand why it's mandatory just with the way that you ride it. It kind of has to be. You can't have a bag on it. But yeah, people would not be happy about. I mean, that's essentially having to pay to go on this ride. So
yeah, that's true.
Right.
Or just don't bring any stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder how strict they'll be with like stuff in your pockets and everything.
I feel like that's gotta be. They have to.
Yeah, because like the Hulk coaster. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I've been on it, but there are metal detectors, right?
Oh, are there?
Now, yeah, I think you have to you can't. They look at you to see like you're visibly not carrying anything and you don't have like bulging pockets, but then you also have to walk through like a metal detector.
Wow.
Yeah,
I haven't been to Universal since I was probably like 10 years old, but I just remember that was kind of like when everybody started having cell phones, and I remember you could like look at the nets that they put to like catch stuff underneath the Hulk, and it was like there's probably thousands of dollars worth of cell phones sitting in that net right now.
Well, and from a thematic standpoint too, I guess thematically and safety, they kind of have to, because this is one of the few coasters that Disney has that runs directly over a guest area. So, you imagine somebody's cell phone flying out of their pocket and hitting somebody in the head. Like,
right.
That's going to be a huge deal.
Yeah. And when I remember, okay, so the last time I think I rode the Hulk coaster was like, I don't know, 2014 or something. And one of the people I was with had a pocket that had a zipper, and he had stuff in the zippered pocket, and they wouldn't even let him take it on. They made him go back to the locker.
I feel like they loosened up on that for a little bit, because I remember having Velcro pockets that I would just like shove stuff in, but also it's been a while since I've been to Universal, so they may have tightened up on it again.
Maybe I'll go to Universal for research purposes.
That sounds like a good idea, Beth. You might have to go to Universal. But along with that, we did also get some construction photos courtesy of all of the Disney blogs, but we also got a opening date announcement. So I know we've all been kind of news adjacent, and I'm pretty sure Beth saw the announcement teaser. Did you see it, Brian?
I did not.
So they announced this in the coolest possible way, and I genuinely hope that Disney's social media team either gets credit for this or they continue to do stuff like this. So they announced I'll go screenshot the post. They put up a post on Instagram that was teasing the opening date of Tron. And
it was like arcade scoreboard style.
Yeah. Oh no, I can't find the post anymore. So they put up this post, right? And it was arcade style, like Beth said, but it had like the scoreboard and everything. And the caption said, need a clue, but it was CLU. And if you really took the time to dig into it, it had the numbers matched up with the names on the leaderboard to spell out 4/4/2023.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah, no, it was the coolest thing that I've seen them do in a while in terms of like ride announcement. And it
Mhm.
for that whole day, I remember just staring at it, trying to figure out what it meant and when the date would be. And I know that like there was a lot of discussion online about it too. So whoever did that, kudos. I really hope they keep doing it.
My escape room loving brain was like, "Ooh, exciting."
It was fascinating. I was very off on my prediction. I thought it was a lot more simpler than it actually was, because I thought it was like there was one date in there and that whole thing was the date of, like, the score was the date that it was going to be announced, because some of the dates that were on there were like Magic Kingdom's opening date, the date that Tron opened in Shanghai, like those kind of dates were on there. So I was like, oh, maybe the one for the this one is on here for that. And then there was another one that I thought that was like the cast member preview date, and it ended up actually just being pieces of the puzzle overall.
Mhm.
But super cool. I'm excited. It feels like it's still further out than I want it to be, but I don't know. This thing's been in development for so long now that when it
Oh my
opens, it's just going to
gosh,
be a
a
miracle.
million years. Yeah, the line is going to be like at the front gate.
Apparently, reservations for that day sold out the day that they announced this. Like, it was booked up.
I wonder if they're going to utilize the boarding group thing. They have to, right?
They have
Yeah, they
to.
have to.
I feel like that's going forward. Every new attraction, they're going to have to do that to keep it at a reasonable length of line.
Especially in the Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no way that they can feasibly make that work if they don't.
Right.
And let's see, what is our next one that we have? Oh, this is exciting for just a handful of us. Park pass reservation requirements are changing for annual pass holders. So this is a little bit of misleading here. Apparently, the reservation system is changing so that annual pass holders will no longer have to have the park hopping restriction after 2 p.m. Basically, the only exception is going to be Saturday and Sundays at Magic Kingdom, just to kind of control the crowd a little bit better, which is exciting. They're loosening up the restrictions a little bit.
I
Yeah.
feel like you need a flow chart though for planning this out now.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah.
It's just I get it. It's a step in, I guess the right direction, but it's like, goodness gracious, now we got to worry about what day we're doing this on. There's just a lot.
Yeah, I like that it adds a little bit of spontaneity back for pass holders, that they don't need a pass or a reservation anymore. If they want to go after 2, they can just go. And I feel like I read somewhere also that if you have a reservation for a park, you can park hop starting at 11 now, or not now, but like when it goes into effect.
So this article that I have doesn't say that, but I vaguely remember reading that too. So
I like that they're shifting things to accommodate for I think, mass complaints that have been expressed. Is, people want to have a little bit of flexibility in their trip.
Mhm.
So, and I feel like the good thing, the good thing for everybody with pass holders no longer needing a reservation after 2 p.m. is that if they're planning on going after 2 p.m., they're not going to be holding a reservation that anybody could take. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So it
I also
opens
think
things
that-
up a little more in that way as well.
Yeah. I also think that this is the first step in them eliminating the reservation system entirely. Like,
God, I hope so.
It makes sense for them to roll it back on a smaller group of people. It makes sense for them to kind of ease into reservations disappearing. My big thing is I kind of hope that they keep them around just for like holidays and stuff like that where it makes sense. But honestly, if you do it that way, ease people out of the system, but make it just complicated enough where it's still like you kind of have to know when you're going to use it. So if like, say I want to go down on Christmas Eve, I need to know how the reservation system works because I've had to use it before, kind of thing. I don't know. I think that that's the only way it's going to work if they keep it, or if they plan on keeping it around. Because we've said it before, this whole system feels so half-baked.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that, Disney half baking something before they put it into practice.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Also, another little minor change is that Disney Genie is now going to include complimentary on-ride photos for Walt Disney World attractions. This is a huge plus in terms of like trying to get me to buy Genie. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but like give me little things and I'm happy.
Yeah. Now they just need to give it back to pass holders too. I mean, I'm not even a pass holder anymore, and I'm still trying to speak on behalf of these people who dedicate their freaking lives and $1,200 in some cases to this company, and then they can't even get free photos. That the photographer is taking the photos, like it doesn't cost you anything to make them available digitally.
The camera that's set up and takes the picture regardless. It's
right, it's like. Come on, Disney. Maybe I'm hoping that all of these little things are going to add up to them being like, all right, sorry guys, we did screw up. We're going to reinstate the things that we had before.
It's just wild that we're still here.
This definitely, it's good they're doing it. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but it is also, it's just like, hey, yeah, here's the thing back that actually doesn't cost us any money to let you have.
It costs them nothing because the photo's already going on your account with a watermark on it. Like, there's no reason for these photos to not be free.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess maybe not free because Memory Maker and stuff that people purchase, whatever. Pass holders should get it for free. And anybody who purchases Genie Plus, you should get all of your photos, not just attraction photos, included in that day.
Yeah.
But then how do they trick people into paying $170 for Memory Maker, I guess? Or $199, whatever it costs.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, if they just discontinued Memory Maker and just kind of like gave it to select like premium programs, it would be fine.
Yeah.
Or even left it alone for like, well, no, because then that would just push people to buy Genie Plus. Yeah, just discontinue it altogether. Put it out for the premium programs like Genie Plus, your annual pass holders, whatever, and then it's fine. You'll still make money.
Yeah. Plus,
like you said, it costs them virtually nothing.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be a lot of people that would buy those separately. I think the same people that would pay to get like Genie Plus are also going to pay to have Memory Maker. So yeah, just make it one thing. Price it whatever you got to price it at, but just make it one thing. You can do like Disney Premium or you can do Disney Light, and
yeah.
Next thing that we have on here is that Disney filed a new patent, and it's for these head-mounted displays. We don't know exactly what they're for, but Blog Mickey is speculating they could be for costume character interactions. This really doesn't matter in terms of like going to Disney parks, but it's a cool concept in terms of like what it could mean for future character interactions. It looks like it's going to provide some sort of like heads up display kind of thing so that the outside, like the characters can see people on the outside and interact with them better. Per these patents, it also kind of looks like they're patenting them for a car. Like the image that they use is a car with no visibility, but the person that's in the car can see the outside objects and obstacles. And I think that this article is also speculating that may be for a Mater meet and greet based on the photo choice following.
They already have this at Disneyland, if I am not mistaken. That they had. Well, I know for a fact that there was a car from Cars. I don't remember if it was Mater or who, but just like driving through Cars Land when I was walking by. And it was pretty cool. So I don't really feel like that fits in anywhere in Disney World necessarily right now, but I like that they're innovating. I like that they're thinking about stuff.
Yeah. I love this last
Well, and the other thing
picture
with that too, God,
where it's like you're the first person view of the person inside the costume, and it's just like the creepy rabbit face imposed on top of the people.
Yeah. You know, this kind of to me looks like similar to Baymax. I don't know if you guys are familiar with
Oh.
how his character operates, but you know,
I think I've
obviously.
vaguely seen it.
All right, well, if you don't want magic spoiled or whatever, then skip forward a little bit in this episode. But basically, you know, you have the big inflatable suit, and there's a person inside, a cast member inside. They, from what I was told by a cast member that is friends with Baymax, there's basically like a, I don't know, maybe Nintendo Switch sized screen in there. And there's like a camera that it does not like it's, he said it's very hard to do that meet and greet because it's like it's the video feed is not where the camera is and you can hardly see anything. You know, it's like 740p or whatever, like low resolution camera. So it's just kind of a shot in the dark, and that's why those meet and greets tend to be a little more awkward than others. It's because they really can't tell what's happening at all.
That's kind of funny, but unfortunate at the same time.
Yeah, but this looks like an updated version, like a better version of that, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to mention before we move on from this is that the other important thing to remember with Disney and patents is they don't always use the patents they file. So this could mean literally nothing.
They just don't want other people using the patents they file.
Right.
It's funny. To me, it also seems like, is this unique enough to hold a patent? Because it kind of seems like it's basically a camera with a screen on the inside of this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what it could also be used for is, you know how certain costume characters, there's like height requirements. Like to be Mickey and Minnie, you have to be below like 5'5" or something. And then to be like Goofy or Tigger, you have to be at least 6 feet tall because you have to be able to see out of those costumes. Maybe this kind of makes it to where taller costume characters can be played by people regardless of their height.
Interesting. Yeah, that would make sense.
Just spitballing, you know.
I mean, it's definitely a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing that we have on here is some exciting fireworks news. First thing on our news here is that we've got the announcement that oh my gosh, what was the Magic Kingdom's fireworks name that
Enchantment.
premiered for the Enchantment. So Disney Enchantment is no longer with us, and they're bringing back Happily Ever After. So that's exciting.
Well, it's going through April 2nd. Disney Enchantment is.
Yeah.
It says, but yes, otherwise Happily Ever After, which I'm excited about. I thought Enchantment was, you know, nice, but it just didn't have that same heart-wrenching song to it. I don't know. And I think nothing will ever be wishes, but I feel like Enchantment made me miss Happily Ever After. So I'm happy to see it returning.
And I feel like I genuinely liked Happily Ever After. It was a cute fireworks show, and it had a lot of the beats that, like you said, Wishes had, but not to the same extent. It's an okay replacement for it.
Yeah. I gotta say though, I guess, you know, Enchantment was the 50th anniversary offering, so maybe we should have expected this. But they really made it feel like Happily Ever After was going away forever.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. It feels very much like that was not the plan all
Like
along.
it was to an extent where the last time I was watching Happily Ever After, I was a little emotional that this was the last time I was ever going to see it. And now I'm just like, well, now I feel stupid for having tears in my eyes.
Well, oh goodness. But good news, or more good news here. With that, we are also going to be losing the, I don't know, divisive fireworks show Harmonious at Epcot. And for a limited time, Epcot Forever will be back.
We're getting more kites, y'all.
They are really just doubling down on kite entertainment at Disney.
Yo.
I think my favorite part about this is Epcot Forever is kind of living up to its name, because it wasn't supposed to really be here for forever, and now it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
I'm counting it as a win, though, because those barges are the worst. So if they're gone, I'm cool with whatever comes afterwards, as long as they're not blocking my view of World Showcase anymore.
As long as it's not hideous.
Yes.
Goodness.
I do wish I had gotten to see Harmonious one time unimpeded by the man that was trying to fight the woman next to me when I was the one time that I was watching it, but that's what YouTube is for, right?
Always have been.
That's true. It's true. I mean, it was more entertaining to watch.
Imagine that's your only memory of this fireworks show. Well, that's pretty much all that we missed in the 2 weeks we were gone, at least the big stuff. I mean, honestly, it kind of sounds like there's a pretty promising future going on here. It's all really little things, but I have to say, after this roundup, I'm excited. There's a lot of things to be excited about, even if they are little things.
Yeah, but I feel like we talked about that last time. Like, Disney's in a spot now where they can give back some of this stuff that it feels like they've been kind of nickel and diming over the years, and just do a bunch of little things to get fans back happy and interested in what's coming at Disney. And I think that they've done pretty well with that.
Right. That's kind of where, like, I want to transition into the stuff that we did talk about this year, but I wanted to kind of gauge how you guys are feeling before we go into that. Like, with everything that's been going on, are you starting to feel excited again?
It's easier to feel optimistic now, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still think that there's plenty of things that they can work on, but I feel like we're all kind of like lifelong Disney fans at this point, so it's not like we're going to completely turn our back on them. So it's nice to kind of just like get some stuff thrown to us now to get us, back in the mood of it. It feels like I'm definitely optimistic. I think that this is heading in a good direction. Maybe Iger 2.0 will be a more positive impact on the company than it was last time around. Maybe.
It's actually funny, like, to me, thinking about it, the way that everything transitioned, Bob Chapek had, like, potentially the hardest setup for him going into the pandemic as CEO, and he majorly dropped the ball. Like, that's me giving him grace, and I'm still gonna say he didn't do a good job here. But at the same time, I feel like Iger has the biggest layup for him going into being the CEO after Chapek, because there are so many disenchanted Disney fans that, like, these little things are just so easy for him to do. And I mean, maybe they're not all him, but like the things that are happening now with, like you said, little things coming back and little things being kind of just given back to us. It's easy to get that, oh, things are changing in the positive direction, but we're not there yet.
Right.
Well, with that, I guess we can dive into the stuff that we did talk about this year. And in going through this, obviously, this is stuff we've all talked about. We've done a lot more of a deep dive during our news segments, but I want to take the time to kind of reflect on these and then talk about maybe how we're feeling in retrospect. Like, was this a big announcement? Were we excited about it then? Are we excited about it now? I think a lot of this is stuff that I don't really see us changing our views on, to be completely honest, but it'll be interesting in retrospect. The first thing I have on here is the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel opens. I feel like when we talked about this, I was critical. I feel like, I was excited about it because it's an immersive experience. I have moved my emotions to a more cautious standpoint with this because I feel like, again, it's not long for this world.
No.
Gosh, with how much money they spent on it, I can't imagine it going away, though.
I don't think the hotel goes away. I feel like the experience that guests got on opening weekend and are
Yeah.
continuing to get is going to go away. I think it's going to be, I think it's just going to end up being a Disney, like a themed hotel with a couple interactive elements, but it's not going to be like, I think as
An
time goes on,
adventure.
I think as time goes on, it's going to drastically change.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, that's also, again, me being very not positive about something. So I don't know.
I think it's accurate though.
Yeah, I agree. I hate that I never, not that it's completely over yet, but I'm not going to get to probably ever experience what it's supposed to be like, which is a shame because I feel like it's really cool, but it's like it ain't $3,000, $4,000 cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's
It's
been
gonna
a
make
lot
a
of
great Defunct Land episode in about 10 years.
Yeah.
there's been a lot of opening day cast members on TikTok like posting that they're leaving. Granted, a lot of them have gained more of a following on TikTok and are probably making money off of that. But I think somewhere down the line that does mean something if a lot of those people that were like, integral in helping create the characters and experiences are stepping away. Like, I feel like when it comes down to being an entirely new cast, it probably loses a little bit of magic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like everything about this. I mean, that's what people are paying for is this whole immersive experience. And if the quality of it degrades, people aren't gonna pay the ridiculous prices for this thing.
So with that said, over under on seeing a discount for this specific hotel experience this year.
Oh, I would bet a lot of money on that, on it happening. I don't think they stand any, if you're not filling all the reservations, then why not?
Yeah.
It's like at the end of the day, you don't want to do this whole big show for, guests if you're only got a quarter of the hotel filled. So yeah, I think the big Star Wars fans that really, really wanted to do this went out and did it. The other just like, I feel like the really more wealthy Disney fans that were able to do this and that maybe aren't big Star Wars fans went ahead and did it. But at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to want to keep coming back to this. I don't think a whole lot of people are going to do repeat experiences with this. So at a certain point, you're kind of going through your market for this. So yeah, I think by the end of this year, all those people have done this, and you're going to have to start discounting this so that other people will want to do it.
Yeah. I think there is a certain level of replayability for this, but I think it's so marginal that, the price is so prohibitive of you actually getting people to commit to it. Like you said, I feel like there is that aspect of like, maybe I need to do one more trip on this, but even that's a tough pill to swallow for most people that aren't massive fans.
Mm-hmm.
Next little thing that we had on here was the opening of Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. How are we feeling about that one post New Year?
I mean, I still have yet to ride it. Y'all, so side note real quick. I'm going to Disney next month for the first time in a year.
Wow.
Which is
How's it
wild.
feel?
when I say that to people, they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "No, you don't understand." The past like 6 years, I've gone like 3, 4, 5 times. So I haven't had not having gone like but one time in the past year is wild to me. So maybe I'll get to ride it, but from what I hear, it's incredible. It does have a lot of rewritability with the different songs
Mm-hmm.
and the different with the the vehicle the way that it is, making different movements with different songs, if I am remembering that right. Like
I will be
it's a
completely
slightly
honest.
different experience depending on what song you get, and it's
I will
not
be
just
completely
the
honest.
song.
I've avoided spoilers for this entirely.
Oh well, sorry.
Which is
Hopefully that wasn't a big
no.
spoiler.
I mean,
but...
I know like the songs and stuff, but I haven't watched a ride through on this at all, which is bizarre.
Oh, me
because
either.
You guys know me. I'll like full on go looking for spoilers at this point.
Right.
But yeah, no, I this is one that coming into the new year and like just kind of letting it sit for a little bit and hearing people talk about it, but like not give details. I genuinely am still very excited about this attraction. I think I think it was a great addition, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I have heard nothing but very, very, very positive reviews on this.
Nice.
Maybe one day one of us will get to ride it.
Oh yeah. Oops. I put that in there twice with Disney Enchantment fireworks opening in August and then the cancellation in September. I feel like we all kind of talked about that. This was a flop, right?
Yeah, I think we can stamp that one a flop.
I also put that we had 2 hurricanes that impacted operations at Disney World, which is wild. It feels like that was not that long. Or that feels like that was both long ago and not that long ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's also strange that, Disney went so long without having a hurricane impact the operations. And then it seems like in the last couple of years, it's happened quite frequently.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. The biggest news: Bob Chapek out. That's that's the one we could probably spend another whole episode talking about.
We did spend an episode talking about
We did indeed.
Yeah.
Yep. You want to hear our in-depth thoughts on that one? You'll have to go to our Bye Bob episode.
This is still so bizarre to me. This whole like CEO,
the
move
coup,
and then
the coup, man.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's like, listen, I get it. The guy sucked, but they definitely were like planning this heavily under under the sheets,
I genuinely hope that in a few years we get another like Disney War-esque book about this.
Oh my
as
gosh.
bad as that sounds.
Because there was more going on behind the scenes than everybody heard about.
Yeah. And I honestly would not be super surprised if this was like kind of the plan all along, because everybody was so excited that Bob Chapek was out that they forgot how much Bob Iger also sucks. And when he came back, they're like, oh, yes, praise the Lord, our savior. I think, here's my conspiracy theory. Got my tin hat Mickey ears on right now. Bob Iger was like, all right, we got to do something to make my image better. So I'm going to let this guy take over. We're going to get him to do all this stuff that people are going to hate. And then we're going to kick him out. And I'm going to come back and undo just enough of it that people forget how much they hated me before. Come on, it's plausible.
I mean, that's kind of exactly what's happening.
Right?
My only counterpoint to that, though, is that this is now the 3rd time that Iger has been CEO, if you'll remember, because he stepped down in the middle of the pandemic.
See, that's a pattern. That's a pattern. This man is a serial CEO.
Serial CEO. Oh, I don't know. I hear that a lot. That a lot of people feel like this was a ploy for people to like solidify Iger's legacy. I don't know. He's a smart man, but I don't think he's that smart.
It's kind of funny though because it's like, you know, he's okay. He's doing better than he was, but it's also like he clearly just, I don't think he really cares that much about being CEO, considering he's, you know, stepped down multiple times before. So it's, I don't know if he really cares about what his legacy at Disney is at the end, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm. It was his self-esteem. That's why he did it.
Who knows? Maybe it was about his ego. You know, another one, we've got Fantasmic returning to Hollywood studios in November 2020. I feel like that's an easy one to just, you know, still be
Finally.
excited about.
I know. I can't wait to see it again. Can't wait to see Disney's best nighttime show again. Yeah,
You know what?
Everybody fight me.
I don't even know that I can.
I'm feeling spicy.
This is one that to me feels like it took forever to come back. I feel like hopefully they were doing a lot of work on it behind the scenes, and that's why it didn't, you know, come back when they could. But we'll see. I'm excited. I mean, it's super easy to get excited about Fantasmic.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait.
Oh, I skipped right over the Magic Band Plus. Whoops.
Oh.
Yeah, that announcement was a thing that happened in July 2022. I don't know. I think this is a cool concept. It's something I feel like I need to get my hands on before I can actually say if I like it or not. The fact that it took us this long to get a rechargeable Magic Band, though, is a little bizarre.
I agree. I feel like what they need to do also is make some sort of clip for a existing watch. So many people already wear an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or whatever, like smartwatch. That I wear a Fitbit and I hate wearing the Magic Band on, I don't want to wear it on the same side. I don't want to wear something on both wrists. Just give me something I can clip to my existing watch band.
What's hysterical about that is there are so many of them on Etsy that have like an Apple Watch strap where you can, or I think it's either like a strap or there's like an attachment for the puck where you can slide it on your Apple Watch. And I'm pretty sure Al has one, and like we've talked about it before. But
I need to look into that.
This is one of those cases that where like it's an Etsy thing that Disney could easily steal, and we know they already do that.
And they will eventually. Yeah.
You know, I gotta say, I went puck keychain a couple years back.
Same.
Never looked back.
Me either. And you know what? It saves so much money because you don't feel like, oh, that's a cute Magic Band.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy that. I have like 16 Magic Bands that I'm never going to wear again.
Yep. I have so many. And it was funny because, like, you know, one time I remember one of us forgot our Magic Band, you know, and it's like, we have 15 at home. How did we forget a Magic Band to come into the parks, you know? And so, now it's on my car keys and, you know.
Oh, that's smart. Honestly, like as dumb as it sounds, I did not think about you putting it on your car keys.
Yeah, no. I used to keep it on a lanyard, and then honestly, it's so small because like I can't stand having like a bunch of stuff on my keychains on my car keys, but it is so small that it really does not take up any space. I don't notice it at all. And it's always there. If I'm in the car and I have made it to Disney, I have my Magic Band. So
there you go.
Nice. I just sent you guys two of the ones that I found on Etsy if you want to take a look at them. We don't have to talk about them right now, but in case you're curious.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another big one that we got this year was the official announcement that Splash Mountain's going to be closed. We got the date and we got the theme, which is exciting. I think this is one that like I'm still all about. like as much as, Splash Mountain was a fun ride, it's going to have the same bones. I couldn't really care about the theme at this point. I have no emotional attachment to that.
Mhm.
But I'm excited for, Princess and the Frog to get more love in the parks. We've talked about that plenty on this show.
Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. I am very nostalgic for Splash Mountain show scenes, but for the sake of my girl, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. This is one that I feel like they could open it tomorrow and I would be like over the moon about.
Now, once they get that done, they can add Tiana's restaurant next
Okay,
to
so
it.
that's definitely got to be like next up, right?
Well, they announced it for Disneyland already.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, for us, give us that too.
give it to me.
How close is Splash Mountain to New Orleans Square?
It's not in the same
it's-
Disneyland.
it's-
It's not
it's
in the same
on-
land.
No, I mean, like, is it like within proximity where like the New Orleans theme kind of makes sense? Because obviously, I don't know Disneyland.
Oh no, it's in Critter Country.
Okay.
So in New Orleans Square is its own land, and then Critter. I think it's still called Critter Country.
I have to look up a map of
Honestly, I didn't.
Disneyland.
I didn't ride Splash Mountain when I went to Disneyland because I was like very selective about which duplicates I was going to ride, and I had read that one's like, carbon copy. So I was like, I'm not going to waste my time on it.
Okay, so they're like the lands next to each other. But
are they?
Yeah. So the whole reason I thought behind that was like thematically it kind of makes sense, but no, they're like literally right next to each other, and Splash Mountain is kind of in the middle of Critter Country. At least that's how this map looks. Somebody out there that goes to Disneyland regularly is screaming at me. I can hear it already. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I feel like this is going to be such a positive change. Like, I'm honestly more excited to see what they do animatronic wise in this attraction. Like, I want to see the animatronics that they're going to put in here, and I want to see what they're going to do with the Splash Mountain animatronics.
Yes.
Because we all know that we've talked about the reusage of those before.
Yes. There has to be a jazz rendition of How Do You Do, or I think
Like
that's
a little nod.
Yeah, I think that'd be such a great way to make a nod to the attraction. That doesn't reference anything to do with Song of the South, and just we'll give the little nod back to the classic.
Yeah,
that would be very cute.
This last one we haven't talked about in news, and it's a relatively recent attraction. I purposely left this for the last one because, it's the railroad. We have to talk about the railroad coming back. It's been closed for 4 years now, and finally we are getting the train back at Magic Kingdom, and it just feels like the world is healing.
Yes.
It's wild to me that it has been closed so long.
Gosh, right?
I wonder in retrospect if they would have known how long that it would, have been closed because of the Tron construction, if they would have built some kind of, I don't know, even like temporary tunnel you go into or something to hide it, because it's very hard for me to believe that Disney was accounting for this being closed for 4 years when
there's no way
they can't have planned that.
Yeah,
it's too iconic,
and it's one of those things that it feels like it almost doesn't quite like it, not like make or break a trip, but like genuinely not hearing the train running through Magic Kingdom feels weird.
And
like it does feel like
the first thing you see before you
Yeah.
even go into the parks.
Yeah, they've had that scrim up for a while.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for it to be back. I think it's such a important part of Magic Kingdom that like now that it's coming back, I'm genuinely very excited to see that
Mhm.
back. It's been missed.
It
Very, very
has.
much so.
Are there anything that I missed from the news that you guys can think of off the top of your head that you want to talk about? Or these pretty much the highlights? I tried to hit everything. I tried to go back through some news sources, but I don't know. There's a lot of things online and not all of them are important.
I mean, I feel like that's true for life in general.
Yeah, I mean, more very much so, but also exponentially so for Disney.
We should have done a little like I will remember you.
Like we did last
The
year.
in memoriam.
All the things that we lost and all the things that they canceled that we're never gonna have.
So I thought about that. That was the thing that I genuinely was like trying to look up, but I feel like we didn't lose a lot this year.
We lost a lot of concepts, I think.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of ideas, but we didn't lose a whole lot of actual stuff.
Isn't that just the way with the Disney parks, though?
Yeah. But they say that ideas never die, so maybe we'll see them again someday.
Who knows? Honestly, the one thing that I'm actually let's close this out with things that we're excited for 2023. And one of the things that I'm excited for is just like seeing what direction we take from here, because I feel like I don't know, I've been pretty negative on a lot of our shows about my Disney fan experience and what I want from the company. And I think at this point I'm like I said at the start of the show, I think I'm genuinely excited again. Like not over the top excited where I feel like I'm going to, buy a ticket and go down this weekend kind of excited, but like I'm excited to kind of follow the news again and like look at things, and it doesn't feel like it's so much of a slog to look up, what's going on anymore. Like I'm not afraid of what news article is going to come out this week. Like genuinely things feel pretty positive.
I gotta say, this being my 2022, my annual pass expired at like the end of February, and so this is kind of like I'm coming up on my like full year of not being a pass holder. I feel like has given me the opportunity to kind of step back and like be more appreciative of the trip that I'm planning, because I haven't been a million times and there's like new stuff for me to experience. And it gave me the opportunity to go other places because I didn't feel obligated to take all of my vacations at Disney to quote unquote get my money's worth. So honestly, kind of feel like not being a pass holder has made me appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I get that, and like looking forward, since we are not going to be local anymore, like I'm kind of in that boat too, where I'm excited about it being a planned trip. And now all this stuff is coming out, and it's kind of like, ooh, now when do I plan it to make sure that I can hit all this cool new stuff that's coming out? Because, if this was last year, it would kind of just be like, whatever. I'll get around to it at some point. But yeah, there's legitimate stuff coming to get excited about, and looking at that from a new perspective now is going to be fun, and it has me excited again.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting year for you for sure.
I'll say.
Obviously being the person that travels to get there further, and also not the annual pass holder, it is certainly an experience. And I think that, like Beth said, I'm a little bit more grateful when I do get to go back down, just because there are things that I'm hitting like for the first time all in one trip. And it's an experience. Obviously, I don't have to tell you that because it's not like you lived in Florida your whole life.
Yeah. It's interesting though. I think actually now Beth is going to be closer than I will be.
Oh my
think-
gosh, really?
Yeah, because we'll be in Northwest Georgia, so I actually think you were going to be the Station 71 local now.
That's so funny.
What? So how long is the drive going to be? Or y'all? I mean, if you guys might fly, but if you were to drive, how long would it be from where you're moving?
I still think that we would drive if we did it. Just
Because baby.
because baby, and also like one thing too that we're kind of excited about now is that we're gonna get to go camping like at Fort Wilderness. Which is always such a
Oh.
big part of it. And like talking to Jordan, I told her, it's like, not we didn't even hardly stay at hotels, like on property that much the whole time we were here, just because it didn't make sense, because we were close
Mhm.
enough that there wasn't really a need to, and certainly not to go camping, and we didn't have a camper. But like now it's going to be like a whole experience of going to Disney again, instead of it being just like, hey, let's go to Disney this weekend. But
Sounds like in your move you're also buying a camper.
we're wanting to. We've definitely been looking into it. We just want something small, but I think we're going to. But let me
Nice.
see. I'm trying. Let me see if I can actually figure out, because I really do. I think it's going to be a shorter drive for you now, Beth. Let's see. Why can I not just go to Google Maps on my computer and do oh, there it is. Of course I want to do
Because nothing can
directions.
be easy, especially when we're recording.
Okay, so let's see. To Disney World. Oops. Oh my gosh. It is going to be 7 hours and 37 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I'm a whole hour closer.
I was about to say,
That's
yeah, like
funny.
That's wild. All right. I won't take this duty lightly, you guys.
That's like,
shoes to
I'm
fill.
renewing my annual
I'm
pass.
renewing my annual pass. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, because
Wow, that's
I'm
crazy.
just absolutely terrible at geography, but like
Oh, same.
it's
Oh, yeah,
like
no.
looking at this, it's like you forget that, I mean, like the northern borders of Georgia and South Carolina are like almost the exact same, and then South Carolina comes like halfway down the state of Georgia, so it's like, yeah, like a large majority of South Carolina is like further south than the northern part of Georgia.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you any of that. One time I did the drive, and it wasn't even the whole trip, and I don't think I will ever do it again.
Dude, I can't even
Mhm.
imagine. I mean, it as soon as it becomes like a multiple day drive, I'm out. Like, there's no
Right.
way. That's a whole.
There are
other
people that
thing
do it in one day, and I'm
Oh,
not one of
really?
those people. Well, it's so it's technically, if I Google Maps it, Google is going to tell me it's 18 hours.
Ugh, no.
Absolutely not.
It also
Unless
depends on
I'm
the
doing like a whole road trip experience.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that cannot be just. Yeah, if it's like, oh, I'm gonna take a trip down the East Coast and then end up in Florida and go to Disney World, but it's like, no, if I'm driving just to get there, that's miserable.
So okay.
And Mario
Google
says,
Maps.
and it was.
It was. It absolutely was. Never again. That's a lie. I probably would do it again, but I would probably also stop like along the way and do multiple
I feel like
days
the
of
only
a stop. Go ahead.
Stop.
the
at
only way
nearest
you could talk
airport
me
and
into
fly.
it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys.
No, you're fine.
Um,
Go ahead.
The only way I think I could be roped into a trip like that is if we had like a big car and there were multiple people who could drive and we could take
Yes.
turns and
Yeah,
I could sleep
no.
some of it.
Well, so Google Maps is okay. It's actually shorter. Depending on the time of day, and this is also just location based, and this doesn't matter at all to you guys, but right now, if I were to leave right now and go down, it would be 15 hours. If I did it later in the day, that jumps up because of the drive through Washington, D.C.
Oh gosh.
Traffic in DC, if you go in the middle of the day, you will be there for hours. Like, it is getting in and out of the city is impossible. But yeah, no, that chunk alone is what would make me never want to do that drive.
Right.
Now, when you did it, did you just like get on 95 and ride that most of the way down?
So we drove home, which is also part of the problem. But we did
So you
get on
flew
95.
there and you drove back?
Yeah. Because we had the car, like we picked up the rental car and then
A
drove the rental
terrible
car
way to
home.
end the trip.
I
I
know,
know, it was
man. I
awful.
was like dreading
It
it
was
even
awful.
more.
So we did jump on. I got on 95 and went up, and then I don't remember the rest of the way. Honestly, it's kind of a blur because we hit like outside of DC. We sat there for 3 hours waiting to get through, and it wasn't even like rush hour traffic time. It was like 8 o'clock at night.
Oh
We
my God.
actually ended up in driving home. We spent the full like 2 days going there. We left Disney Springs at, I want to say it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, planning to stop. We drove over Florida into Georgia, about halfway through Georgia, and then stopped and like rented a hotel room, and then drove the rest of the way home the next day. And it was
That is
awful.
not like an even.
Why did you
That's
stop
like-
so soon?
Well, we drove for an hour and a half. And then
Well, the worst part was like, so driving from Disney up until Georgia, I don't know how, but it took us forever to get out of Florida. Like it was
you
not
were
a good
over
drive.
it by then.
Well, yeah, and by the time that we got, like, I think we were most of the way through Georgia when we stopped, to be completely fair. But when we got out of Florida, it was like, all right, we need to find somewhere for dinner, and then we'll keep going. And we'd actually planned on driving till like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, just because I figured that would be when I would get tired. But
Was
like,
this just you and Andy?
yes, it was just the two
Oh
of us,
my
and it was
God.
awful.
All right.
Worst
part is
never
I
go
drove
on a
most
road
of the way,
trip with
too.
Mario.
The worst part is like, if we had more time to do all of this, it would have been fine. But we also didn't plan anything along the way. We just kind of were like, oh, we'll stop along the way, forgetting that like most of the drive is highway. So it was like we had to plan, like if we were going to do it, we would have had to plan the exits to get off at. So we're driving up because obviously like I'm really bad with geography. You guys know this. We just talked about it. Driving up on the highway, we're like, oh yeah, we'll see something and we'll stop. And we're driving, we're like, damn, this is all highway.
We got Taco Bell. We got McDonald's.
It was something.
Man, it's funny.
Well, anything else that you guys are excited about the new year? Do you want me to cut this? Oh,
I'm excited to leave 2022 behind.
amen.
There you go.
Bigger and better things in 2023, we hope.
Leave 2022 and Bob Chapek behind.
That's right.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.